I'm Superantonio.
Any problems, you shout
And
out,
we're live.
Cold
Greetings,
morning.
friends. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Free Roam Fridays, where we free roam with Arthur in Chapter 2. That is, if we ever get to Chapter 2. We're still in Chapter 1. We're still at Colter. And we will get out of Chapter 1 tonight. Also, I never noticed that they left all the wagons on this side of Colter. There's nothing here, but it seems like these wagons are parked rather haphazardly and out of the way. And there's nothing in them. One of these, ironically, is Arthur's wagon. Which one? What's that about? At any rate, we're starting over because we have a new PS5. There's really no discernible difference. I mean, it's a slightly sharper. You can upscale to 4K, which we're not doing. And the loading times are faster. That's about it, regrettably. We're not playing it in 4K because we're only streaming in 1080p, so it's not like you would enjoy the benefits of that. It's slightly, I feel the graphics are slightly sharper in 1080p. You may notice a difference. The color is a little more
We're gonna
true.
starve to death up here, Mr.
We're
Morgan.
all right. At any rate,
We're okay.
we're here tonight. I'm
We
here
have
tonight, and so
a
is
few
Sadie.
cans of food
We're
and a
happy to
rabbit.
see you.
For what?
Happy
10, 12
Friday.
people?
We made it to the end of the week.
I was in the Navy.
Hope you're doing
I
well.
do not wish to hear about
you had
what
a
you
good
got
week.
up to in the Navy, Mr. Pearson. We were
Your
stranded at sea.
weekend is
50
the
days.
beginning of
You
my week, as we
unfortunately
stream Monday,
survived.
or we stream
When we
Friday,
ran away
Saturday,
from
and
Blackwater,
Sunday.
I wasn't able to get supplies in.
I'm not complaining.
Government agents
this
are
is-
hunting you down.
your
Sometimes
Friday
shopping trips need
is
to be
my
cut
Monday.
short.
So,
We'll
in
survive.
theory, this should be free roam
We always
Mondays.
If need
any
be,
rate,
we can eat you. You're the
I'm here for
fattest.
you.
I
Sit
sent
back,
Lenny and Bill hunting, and they found
grab your favorite
nothing.
beverage.
Well, Lenny's more into book
In my case,
learning
it's
than
green
hunting.
tea.
Bill's a fool. Unless those mountains
And we'll
are
go
full of game that
through
wanna read, ain't no wonder they
couple
found
missions.
nothing.
This. We'll go find something. Come on, Arthur.
Wait a second.
PS5.
Hold on.
Here's Charles.
Here.
He's going to
You
give
need
us
some
that
meat out
bow.
there. Assorted
And
salted
assorted
off.
salted offal.
Starving would be preferable.
Offal's basically
Let's go.
intestines.
You can't go
Probably
hunting.
pig
Look at your
intestines.
I can't stay here listening
And
to you two.
if you've had
Look, if there's game in those hills, I'll find it.
ravioli or
You can
hot
kill it.
dogs,
hair. You need to rest,
you've
Charles.
had offal.
You think this is rest?
What's that about?
Come along.
Scarlet Apostate is here and says, I know summer's upon us. Does seeing chapter 1 make you miss winter a little? Yes, it does,
Here,
Scarlet.
take
Also, I didn't.
I can
I
use it,
thanked
you'll
you
have to.
in the
Use a
the
gun.
Last of
We'll
Us
scare
live
off
stream
every
that we did.
animal
You
for
sent
miles
a
around.
you sent a super chat
Never too old to
like
learn.
at the very end, probably
imagine.
because you didn't want to get embarrassed, like I'm with the shout out like I'm giving you now. But
Let's
thank
head
you
out.
so much. Sadie really appreciated it, and so did I. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I loved
okay.
winter in this
Apart from
game.
this
It was the
hand.
first thing I noticed
Stupid
on the
mistake.
first playthrough was
Still
just
bad? It'll be fine
the
in a
sound
day or
of the
two.
wind and the
just can't pull a
snowstorm,
bow
and
right
it
now.
just
Uh,
felt
sure
so
hope I
cold.
can.
I was immediately
really got the hang of it.
transfixed with
You'll be
the
fine.
with the weather,
So,
and I'd never experienced
you
that
reckon we're
before
gonna
in a
find
video
something
game,
to kill that ain't no
where
Driscoll?
I'd been so
There's meat up here for sure.
so
Pearson doesn't know what he's talking about.
enraptured
weather's eased
or
off a bit,
immersed,
they'll be needing to
I guess
feed.
is a better word, in the
We'll head up this
in the
way.
weather,
Find some higher
the
ground.
environment. I mean, you could almost feel the cold, and regrettably
Been a
that
while,
that
few
feeling
days, all right.
is
Now,
not
riding
there
north from
anymore.
Blackwater,
It's gone.
getting stuck
It was a
in
first
storm,
playthrough thing, but yeah, I
going out
loved
for
it.
John, that
I
thing
loved
with the
Colter. I
O'Driscolls.
loved getting out of
You've
Colter.
had a
I was
lot
very
put on
excited
you.
to
I wish I could have done
get to
more.
chapter 2 so we
I
could
didn't
free
mean it
roam.
like that. Just
Miko Herptile is
Well,
here.
I
Shout out to
think
the
back
Philippines and
I
Miko
still
channel
don't
mod
really know what happened on
extraordinaire,
that boat.
and who says
Me
hello
neither.
Super Antonio, Sadie mods, and
well,
everyone.
Javier told me a bit.
Poor Sadie's a little sad, or a little tired. She's not sad. And Miko says, "Hello, Scarlet." She is in need of a shower. She's smelling a little horsey. I told her this morning, "You're smelling a little horsey." And she was not ashamed or embarrassed. She's happy to. I think she's happy to be dirty, and she's happy to be clean. She enjoys the contrast. But yeah, I would especially in the summer months. I've been thinking about washing her twice a week instead of once a week. It's supposed to be bad for the skin, though. Or maybe just hose her down. She might like that. At any rate, how was your week,
That's good.
Nico? We made it to the weekend.
But if it's too strong,
I spent all week working on The Last of Us. Maxing out Joel, maxing out his weapons. New Game Plus. I love New Game Plus. And there's I guess I should talk about it tomorrow night with The Last of Us playthrough. There's options and features that on the PS5 version that I hadn't heard about. Micah is here and says, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Greetings, Micah. I'm doing quite well, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Has deer been here?
We can't grab the bow yet. We cannot grab the bow until
How can you tell?
Charles tells us to get the bow. Don't leave it on your horse.
Let's walk it from here. You're gonna need
Scarlet
the bow.
Apostate
Don't
says,
leave it
"Hi,
on your
Miko."
horse. A gun will scare everything around.
Or hi, yes.
Use the bow I gave you.
The Mahogany Bay Tennessee Walk.
Don't make too much noise.
Our faithful companion.
Quiet as
There's
you can.
Taima.
Stay low.
Okay, we gotta
move
sneak up.
slowly.
I always like to do Kieran's mission first, so we unlock Deadeye. Makes this mission
You see the tracks?
I
effortless.
think so.
Also,
Maybe not.
it really impresses
Focus.
Charles. Also, the bow hunting in this game is so much easier. The bow in this game is so much easier than the bow in
Once you get
The Last
your
of
eye
Us Part 1.
in, you'll be able to track nearly as well in grass and woods.
In fact, I would say the combat mechanics in Last of Us are far more challenging than the combat mechanics in Red Dead Redemption 2 or 1. What's that about? Maybe they're just different, but Deadeye, and maybe it's just because I've been playing this game for 5 years, but it just seems a lot, that this game is a lot easier than that game. Not to take anything away from this game, it's still my favorite game. Micah says, "I'm never able to get gold on this mission.
There they are.
Gotta get 2 headshots,
Quick, get that bow.
and what else? There's a timing factor involved on the second one.
Good shot. Now let's try for another.
And then you can't shoot the bear." And Charles says, "Nice." And yeah, graphics have improved because on the PS4 you can barely see the second deer. He's lost in the snow, but here you can see him quite clearly.
Well done. I think that's all we can carry.
Scarlet asks, "Are you playing The Last of Us 1 or 2 now?" On this channel, we only play The Last of Us 1. We don't play The Last of Us 2. We don't acknowledge it. However, we have the PS5 version of The Last of Us 1, which is so much better than the PS4 upgrade. It is the Last of Us 2 graphics and AI and combat mechanics in the Last of One world. All of the benefits and none of the modern politics, I guess I'd say. Well, some of them. the ones that are around. It's like you can see the seeds. I'm not thinking about. I'm going to do a cutscene commentary for The Last of Us, because there's only about 90 minutes of cutscenes. You can string them all together and just make a whole video out of it. And if that works, if it's successful, I might go back and do Last of Us or Red Dead Redemption 2 cutscene commentary. It'd be really easy. I've got all the content. I could just pull it from the full game commentary. But we would do that chapter by chapter. We wouldn't. I wouldn't subject you. It's like 6 hours of cutscenes.
Should be enough meat
For
here
this
to
game.
keep us all fed for a few days. You found him.
Micah says you can't spook
knew
either
you'd be
deer
okay
is
with
the
that
other
bow.
objective. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's easier when they ain't shooting back.
You can't chase them. That second one
Considering how things were
is always a
looking
problem
couple
because
of
you
days back,
can't see it.
well, maybe our
It
luck
doesn't seem as
finally
much
on the turn.
as a problem on the
Seems to me we should be putting our
PlayStation
effort into getting off
Cinco
this
de
mountain
Mayo.
So,
Did you have a good Cinco de Mayo?
people are still weak
Did you
and
celebrate it? I
we've
think
seen how
Cruz
snowed
did,
in those
probably.
wagons are. They ain't going nowhere until we get some more thaw. You're probably right. And even if we do get off here, what then? Still have a big price on our heads. This is a big country. We'll find somewhere to lie low. Dutch and Jose will
This
have
is
a
the
plan.
mission. This is the moment where Arthur and Charles become friends.
You notice how Pearson's had a bottle in his hand
And I like
ever
that.
since we fled Blackwater?
It's nice. Also,
We
you
give the
learn,
camp
it's
cook
like that Arthur's
5
been with the gang
minutes
for
to grab the
20
essentials
years.
and go, and he
20
doesn't
years?
even
Something
bring a
like
crumb
that.
of food. Good that we caught more than one. We've only been up here a few days and have already picked up 2 more mouths
Also,
to
you
feed.
get a little bit of conversation
One
about
more.
Mrs. Adler.
We ain't feeding the O'Driscoll a damn thing. Except maybe that can of salted offal Pearson was kind enough to give us. The girl. She has a wild look in her eye. Of course. She lost her husband, her home, everything
2
she had.
deer should
So what do
last
we
the
do
gang
with her?
for a while.
Well, once we get out of here and we're back on our feet, we'll see.
Everyone had
Might
venison
have
steaks for
family
dinner.
somewhere. Who knows?
And then
Maybe
Mr.
she'll deal
Pearson
with
can
the
just
O'Driscoll
chop up
for
the
us.
rest and put it and make a giant
Well, I know
stew
who my money's on in that fight. He's weak, but
with
that
what
makes
else,
him
you
much
know, with
more
whatever
useful.
else he brought.
Maybe we can get
He's
to
got
them
some
before they get to
some
us.
beans.
What is it with the O'Driscolls?
You ain't dealt with them?
Probably
I
not
suppose.
rice,
Hell, we ain't run into them
gonna
much
say a
the
bag
last
of
6
rice.
months.
but
I
That's
guess
more of an
because
Asian
they've
thing.
been over this way.
Ah,
maybe a
I've heard a lot
sack
of
of
talk about 'em.
flour.
Well, we've been scrapping over scores with them for years. Big gang. Nasty
Oh yeah,
sons
we
of
also get a
bitches.
little bit of a
Their leader,
background on the
Cole, and Dutch
O'Driscolls.
go way back.
But all this
Not in a
conversation
good
on the
way.
O'Driscolls
A proper
you will not
blood
have
feud.
if you do
So
this
I
mission
heard.
first.
watch out. Bear up ahead. Let's see if we can find another way around.
But I don't think you can get a gold. You'd have to be super lucky and get super close.
Stay well back.
If you don't do on
this are the worst for
Kieran's
animals that
mission
sleep all
first.
winter.
And that's the last time you'll see a bear in this neck of the woods. Lake Isabella isn't a good area for bears. It's a good area for wolves. And a random moose. And of course, the white Arabian
It's all
in the
right,
snow.
boy. Yeah, that's it, boy.
One lake over, what is that, Barrow Lagoon? You can find a bear there. Where the skater is.
We ain't ever talked that much, you and me. How long you been with us now? 5, 6 months?
Something like that.
You can
Didn't
see the
expect
weather's
this.
breaking. I mean,
What?
it's sunny.
Any of this.
The skies are relatively clear,
Blackwater
even though they're
mess.
up in the mountains.
Being up here?
Ah, sooner or later, a job's gonna go
Do
wrong.
the train job after
Nature
this.
alive.
Out of the snow.
I just
Finally.
thought you might have moved on by now.
You want me to move on?
No. No, not at all.
Then we'll take that wagon ride
No, you could run it alone.
to Horseshoe
no problem.
Overlook, where
I
we
did that
will
for a long
stay
time.
for the foreseeable
I'm
future.
done with it. Always wondering if someone's gonna kill you in your sleep?
I still wonder that most nights.
I reckon you're okay. This suits me. Sure, I could fall in with another gang, but Dutch... You know, Dutch is different.
Oh, yes. Dutch is certainly different.
He treats me fair. Most of you do. And for a fellow with a black father and an Indian mother, that ain't normally the case.
Well, we need you now. Or never.
Good. And how long
It's
have you been with
interesting.
these boys?
Arthur
Why ain't you
sees
run off?
Charles
Me?
as equal. He sees
One of
John
the
as a little
years,
brother.
something like that.
And he teases him like a
Since
little
I was
brother. Same with
born.
Sean.
20 years.
He doesn't have respect for Bill.
Taught me to
'Cause he
read.
thinks Bill is
John,
stupid.
too. Taught me a few other things.
And
Hosea.
what's interesting is
I'm sure.
Micah sees Arthur as an
Take
equal.
most of
We're
us.
brothers, sons of
That's
Dutch.
why we need to stick by
And
him
I
through
guess I would
this.
say
He
Arthur
always
kind of
sees us
tacitly
right.
acknowledges that, but Micah also sees Arthur as his biggest competition,
How's that new horse?
his
He's
rival,
all right.
with the ear
He'll
of
do for
Dutch.
now.
We all know who's going to win.
Appreciate you letting me take Taima the other night.
She's a strong one. It's been as hard on the horses as on the rest of us. I don't know what Dutch would do if something happened to the Count.
And I also, I would assume he sees Javier as
He's a drunk,
something
miserable
like an
bastard.
equal, but he didn't bond with Javier like he
Loves
does
that
with
horse.
Charles,
What are you doing?
his hunting trip.
Careful.
I hope they all make it.
I tried to ride the Count once.
I would say Charles is his best friend at camp,
Hugged me faster than
apart
a
from
bull.
John
Won't take
and
no
Hosea.
but him.
Hosea, you don't really count because he's more of a father figure. And he starts to gain a little bit of an affection for Kieran, but we all know what
I'm gonna
happens
hitch
to Kieran.
time over here.
Miko says, most of you do. I wonder which other gang members were giving Charles a hard time. Well, I believe it was Mr. Bell, perhaps Mr. Williamson,
Get these over to Pearson. Oh, yeah. Thank you for showing me how to use
but
the boat properly.
Charles keeps to himself. He doesn't even sleep in camp. Not really. Miko says, and Lenny. Nah, Lenny always had his head in a book.
Well. Just drop it down in here.
Lenny
What a
was eager to
surprise.
prove himself.
Find a camp rat loitering around in the kitchen.
But,
Is that any way
I
to greet an
believe
old friend? I feel like we
he
haven't
was younger
spoken
than
for
John.
days.
I do my utmost to avoid
He loves me, really. It's his sad way of showing affection.
you. No, it
And here's
isn't.
Uncle,
Now
the
shoot,
camp
you know.
rat,
Well, see you gents later.
See, you got on
looking
just
for a
fine.
handout.
Charles is a
Gonna
wonder.
go
Have a
back
drink,
to
boys.
the
Urine.
to the others and say they came back with two
Jesus, what
two
is
deer,
that?
two
Navy
three-star
rum, sir.
deer,
It's the only
and,
thing. The only thing. Keeps you sane, it does. Yeah, seems to have
and they're going to eat well tonight. Also, I had thoughts about this little kitchenette that
Mind
Mr.
helping me
Pearson
with the
set up
skinning,
here,
Mr. Morgan?
because it's right
It's easier if we
by,
do it together.
you know,
I'll get to skin
a
you.
stable. So this has got to
You're
be
always one with the
the
jokes, aren't you? Come on.
the
This
blacksmith
really isn't a job for
area
men with a burnt
for the
hand.
stable.
I'll
So
see
all
you
the
both
stables,
later.
you will notice
You skin that
around
one,
the
you
map,
get dumped on
have
the
a
floor
blacksmith
there.
area that we don't really interact with, but it's there. So that must be the architecture of this of Colter. This is the blacksmith area, and this random table was
Not
still
too
there.
bad,
They should take
Mr.
that
Morgan.
table with them.
Yeah. They always said you were a butcher. You know, you could trade these.
Scarlet
sell
Apostate
these
says, how
pretty
old do you
much
think
any
Lenny
town.
was? I know
If
he
you
was
look
a
to make
young un. Yeah, I
legitimate bit of
think he
money,
was
of course.
18-ish,
Right now, I'm just
18,
looking to get off
19-ish.
this mountain of
Same
life.
as Sean.
Well, if you catch
You know, they
anything
were-
else, you bring it to me.
I don't think they were 20 yet.
Thank you, Mr.
And then
Morgan. Heck, Arthur
Mary
Morgan's
Beth
first
was
decent
also
bit of
around that
hunting
age,
after
18,
all these
19.
years. Yeah. Well, we're on the run now. Everyone's got to do their bit to
And
survive.
John is slightly
Make a
older,
good
21-ish.
stew. Folk need it.
I would put
Tough few
Javier
days.
in like mid to late 20s. I believe Charles is around Arthur's age, perhaps a little younger, like 30-something. Arthur's like 34-ish. But I think that's part of the reason why they
bad
bond,
few
is they're
weeks.
closer to the same age.
Dutch.
Hosea, I don't think is that old.
Dutch,
Hosea and
busy
Uncle, I
making
believe, are
plans
around
and
55.
Dutch
You know, they're
being
not that
Dutch,
old.
those
They're just
plans
old for
involve
1899.
robbery
And the
dreams.
Dutch, I would put like 40s, mid 40s. Same with
Well, I thought
Same with
you was
Miss
reading his
Grimshaw.
last rights.
You know,
Now
they're
I
not
see
that
you're
old, but they're
introducing him
old
to your other
for
passion.
1899.
I'll mind you to show me some respect, Mr. Morgan.
Mind away, Reverend.
Then Herr
Still
Strauss
here,
and the Reverend, I would put
Oh,
like in
yeah.
their early 40s as well.
And you'll pay me. But for the moment, just rest. Arthur,
And the greatest
train. Want me to come? Of course
Easter egg of chapter
Look
1
at
is that
I was
it
always
explains
ugly, that-
John's
It's just a
scars
scratch. Don't lie
from
still,
Red Dead
son.
Redemption.
Hello, Abigail.
Dutch,
Jackie.
And you get to see
the
little
boy
Jack.
wanted to see you, John.
He's seen me now. Or what's left of me. What about you?
Guess I was hoping to see a corpse.
Bide your time. You'll see plenty of them.
You're a rotten man, John Marston.
He is an idiot, Abigail. We all know it. Now, railway men. Bill, now you ride ahead and set the charge at the water tower just before the tunnel.
And the
Problem.
and this mission just rolls into the train job. Look at that beautiful
thought we was lying low.
sun
Come on.
rise, I would
want from
assume,
me, Jose?
the next day
I just don't want
perhaps.
any more folks to die, Dutch.
That
We're living,
golden
Hosea. We're living. Look at
PS5
me. We're living.
sunlight.
Even you. But we need money. Everything we has in Blackwater. You fancy heading
Dutch
back
always
there?
uses that
No.
scarf.
Listen, Dutch, I ain't trying to undermine you. I just want to stick to the plan, which was to lie low, then head back out west. Now, suddenly we're about to rob a train.
What choice have we got?
Hosea stays
Leviticus
back.
Cornwall's no joke, Dutch.
Who is
I guess he's in charge.
He's a big railway magnate, sugar dealer, oil man.
Also,
Well, how good for him. Sounds like he has more than enough
none
to
of
share.
Dutch's train
Dutch,
jobs
Gentlemen, it is time to
work
make
as planned.
something
There's-
of
They're always
ourselves.
like
Get your
they always
horses
get messed
ready.
up.
We have a train to rob.
This is the first part of Dutch's downfall because he focuses on Leviticus Cornwall. And part of that is because this train job is not successful. Well, it's kind of successful to get the bearer bonds. But we're going to cancel a lot of people. More than we need to. So we can unlock Bandit 1.
Okay, gentlemen, listen up, all of you. According to the information so kindly provided to us by the O'Driscolls, the train will be coming north from Big Valley. We're
First
gonna pick it
playthrough,
off after
I
it
was-
crosses the border into the Grizzlies.
I was just so excited to
Raised
explore
spot
this
there,
open
which
world,
will give us good vantage.
and I
Charles,
didn't really
you'll keep
appreciate
lookout for any outriders.
the
How's that
missions
hand, by the way?
I'll be fine.
from like a
I'll
plot
take the driver
standpoint.
and engineer, then run point.
It was just something to get through, so I could get to the, so I could start opening up the map. I did like thinking about how we could just ride anywhere, and something would happen, and we'd have an encounter. And I remember like riding around here,
You and me,
not paying attention to Micah when you go back to Blackwater, thinking that, you know, what's on top of that mountain right in front of us? Can we go there? What will we find? And when will this mission be over and we can and we can free roam?
Yes, boss.
Good. Now come on. Let's ride.
You can sleep if you want. Sleep. I like holding her paw like a hand. And I don't know if I set it up this way because I'm right-handed, but she does seem to favor my right side. I mean, it's like if she has a choice, she'll pass me on the right side. And Mama One and Papa One are here. Everyone say hi to Mama One and Papa One. Greetings, Mama One. She says, hey family, and Papa One says, hey gang.
Finally. Feels good, doesn't it? But we need to get this done fast.
How are you,
Now
friends?
it's thawing
Appreciate you
before
being
anyone
here.
gets up here
Happy
after us.
Friday.
Oh,
We're
look
going
at
to get
you
out of
boys.
chapter 1,
See? This is what I call
take that wagon ride to Horseshoe Overlook.
Micah fell.
Soon as we deal with this train business. Miko Herptile says hello, Mama One and Papa One.
Here, always the first man on his horse.
Sadie's
Just happy
sleepy.
we're back at him, Dutch.
You sure you're ready for this, kid?
Of course I'm ready.
Just stay calm. Keep your eyes sharp.
Did she have adventures today? She saw one of her friends. That was good. So she got a little horseplay and frolicking. That was that's always enjoyable. Scarlet Apostate says hi, Mama One and Papa One. Mama One says hey, Miko, and hey,
It would be
Scarlet.
crazy to go back there now. The place will be swarming with Pinkertons.
We go back when I say we go back, and that's the end of it. The money's safe. You'll just have to trust me. And if the O'Driscolls are right,
Cattail Pond
stack
for
of railroad
all your
bonds on
moose
this
related
train.
or
Good
for
money.
all your
Once we work out how to
elk related
cash them. There's
needs.
the water tower.
But there is
Up here on the ridge.
a semi-consistent moose spawn. If you keep reloading, you can get a moose.
Is Bill there? Yeah.
There's
You
Bill.
want to head down, see how he's getting on? Okay.
Hold.
Let's go see how he's doing. This is one of the only times that you'll see Arthur smoking on this channel,
How you getting
so we can charge up our dead eye.
I'm okay.
You
I
sure?
prefer to use big game meat.
Of course.
Can I help a little?
All right. Go ahead and set up the detonator by those rocks over there.
Minty big
Okay,
game.
sure.
Now just unspool
We'll,
the wire
charge up
and
your-
then attach it to
We'll
said
give you a
detonator.
gold deadeye core. Papa One says, hey Miko, always good to see you, my friend, and how are you, Scarlet Apostate? Scarlet says to Mama One, I'm having a nice evening playing blackjack and Van Horn in the background while enjoying this live. How's your night? That sounds like a nice evening as well. But in Van Horn, that's a horrible table. Play it in Rhodes or
All right.
Saint
That
Denis.
should do it. You head back up to the others. I got it from here.
You know, did you notice the felt is it's just all janky. The table in Van Horn, you know, the felt's all torn up. The dealer has some kind of horrible skin disease. Also, and even the cards are messed up. You know, they're like frayed and worn. But also, I've never pointed this out. I've never made a video on it. But every city has a different card pattern.
All of you,
Have you noticed
no
that?
mistakes.
What's that
What's
about?
going on?
And I bet their court cards, like the kings and queens
soon
and stuff,
find out.
are different. But I've never really.
Everything okay?
I should
I
make a video on it just because
Okay,
I've made a
cover your
video on
faces.
everything
Train
else.
should be here in-
Papa One says, how was your week, Super Antonio? It was excellent. It was a super week. Mama One says, it's pretty good. Finished cleaning dishes, prepping tomorrow's schedule. I need to clean dishes as soon as the
Gentlemen,
stream is over.
It's time.
Mama One. Oh, I'm making a note
Good luck,
of cards,
Bobby.
RDR2 cards.
You all know what to do.
I've been focused on Last of Us and stuff because it's doing quite well
Here we go.
for the channel. Scarlet Apostate agrees. It is ghetto. Yeah, it's for pennies. But you know, it depends on if you like blackjack or if you like playing those games.
Pathetic. You know that?
The music's better in Saint Denis. Sometimes you get like that violin lady running to jump on a train.
Here we go. Here we go.
This is Arthur kind of bonds with Lenny here. I got you. Now stop hollering. I always thought that was funny.
I've got you. Now stop yelling.
Papa One says, I'm good, Scarlet, drinking a ham's beer and preparing to take some horses to a customer tomorrow. Scarlet Apostate says that's a great point about the card patterns. Yes, noticed that. Noticed that earlier. Never really made a video on it. just because the see that Arthur has Last of Us reflexes. R1 in Last of Us is run. And something horribly different over here. But we're doing pretty good just terminating through all these guys. We know where everyone is. I want to get to this point with Last of Us. Papa One says, given how the gang does its robberies in the game, it's a surprise they lasted as long in the Wild West, much less became an infamous gang. I think the gang started falling apart when Dutch stopped listening to Hosea. Here, this Joker, one more coming. That's it.
How you doing there?
I'm okay. If we don't stop this train soon, the other boys will never catch us.
I know.
Now, I don't mind getting bonked in the head with a coal shovel, but I do mind that it knocks off her hat. You can see the hat like falls off to the side, and it's a pain getting it back. And I like doing the videos with the hat on. But if you crouch, and depending on how close you are to the edge, you can sometimes the hat will fall off on the train, so you can pick it up. It's something that bugs me.
I'm going up. We have to stop this train.
And if you don't stop the train, then you stop it. I've never gotten that animation. I always like how it sparks up when you apply the brakes.
Shit, more guards.
Okay, more shooty bang. Up one. What we're doing. I know where everyone is. I've done this mission so many times.
Bastards must be guarding something.
I like this mission because this is how we raise cash for Chapter 1. You should be able to get,
Still
you
okay?
know, anywhere from $20 and $30 here. Plus, the game will start you with like 11 or 12 bucks.
Where the hell are you?
So every dollar counts, especially in Chapter 2, especially early in Chapter 2.
Wanna get out of this?
Oh, I know we are.
Mama One says, Arthur really loves the hat since canonically he goes back to find it. Yeah, and it's not on the horse yet because you can't really deal with the horse until the stable's open. And you can't feed him or anything.
Sons of bitches. Good shooting, kid.
Yeah, I'd grab one of these Joker's hats if it was possible. I like Arthur with a hat. Peter Walsdorf says, hey everyone, happy Friday. Sorry I missed the live stream on Friday. No worries, Peter. Glad you're here now. Arthur's running to look for his hat.
Shit. What are you boys planning?
Because you'll find it on the side, and then I thought we could get clever and find it on the horse. And spoiler alert, we cannot.
I give you my word, but trust me, we will.
Dutch is rather dashing in his fur bear coat and black hat and red scarf bandana situation.
4, 3, 2,
Mama One says, hey Peter, and Miko says, hey
Seems our
Peter.
friends have gone deaf. Wake them up a little.
And I've always liked shooting out those lights. They're electric lights.
That's enough. Mr. Williamson.
And Peter says, hey Mama One, and hey Miko.
You two boys go blow that door open.
There's a Dune game, Dune Awakening, that looks interesting.
Too much to us, but you
That
boys in
it
there
comes out next
might wanna
month.
take a step back.
Seems
Take a
good to
look
me.
at it. Sci-Fi
Now light the
Sundays
fuse.
is going to be what we're going to do on Sundays.
Unless you got a death wish, I'd step back.
Papa One says, hey Peter, how are you, friend? Because I don't think I even have a sci-fi game. Technically, the Resident Evil games are science fiction, and I guess The Last of Us is kind of science fiction because they're viruses. They're not supernatural.
We don't want to kill
See, Arthur's looking for his hat. What happened to our hat?
Up there. Search that train.
And I love the juxtaposition when Lenny says, "Looks like a palace in here." Just that golden light and the opulence, the Victorian architecture, all the carved wood.
Look at this place. It's
Just
like a
the
palace.
juxtaposition
I've seen
between this and
everything.
Sadie's cabin,
you got the safe?
Sadie and
We'll
Jake's
search
cabin.
for it.
Just
Oh, yes.
the general
Should be
rundownedness
easy as cake.
of Coulter. They've been on the
just gonna
run,
stand
and
there,
you know,
kid.
it's
Pour me
like,
some
why don't we
brandy,
just
will ya?
live in this cab in this train car? How
Yeah,
can we
kid did
detach
good.
this? Can we steal
See
the
you
entire
listening,
train
Jump on that train.
and just
King.
live in
I'll
this
give you
car?
that.
Dutch would take it, and Miss
Okay.
O'Shea.
Let's see if we
But
can
anyways,
get
yeah,
this
and there's
open.
some money in the there's some money in the desk. Be sure to grab it.
Getting
Papa once
there.
says, you know, the thing about Dutch is he talks good, and what he says is actually a proper way to live. Problem is, he just uses it to justify his terrorizing the government, which I'm not completely against, but
Just
nevertheless.
a pile of papers.
I know what you mean, Papa One.
I don't think
Peter
so.
Wallsdorf says, I'm doing
Make yourself
pretty
useful.
good.
At least we all know you can read.
I'm glad,
Give me
Peter.
those.
Got your weekend coming up now.
Railroad contracts, invoices, blah blah blah. You got anything?
There's a portrait, or there's a picture of Gorma. I don't think we focused on it in this playthrough.
Some fancy new boaties ordered from Europe.
Papa one says, I can see Dutch using the train car as a tent and giving Hosea his old tent. Yeah, I never liked how Hosea has to sleep with Bill. I think they do that
What
to
did you
keep
find?
Bill from doing any
They worth
shenanigans.
anything? Oh, sure. Bearer bonds. I think we can probably
You
sell
sleep with
these pretty
Hosea,
easily.
so we can keep an eye on you.
Done. Now, would you get rid of all of this?
The train?
Yeah, get it out of here.
And
Okay.
regrettably,
What do you
we're
think?
going to knife all these guys so we can open Bandit 1.
It's up to you.
'Cause it's the
Kill
easiest
'em,
way to
leave 'em here,
get
take 'em with you on the
get
train.
it done.
Just make sure they don't send no folk
Also,
after
we want to
us,
loot them.
okay? See you back at camp. When you get back, we'll be moving on. The rest of you, let's ride.
And they're all armed. They should fight back, but they won't.
Okay. Get on the train. Quick. All of you. Any bright ideas, I kill all three.
Then I didn't do it this
behave.
playthrough, but I think I might do it in one of these playthroughs because you, of course, you know, you can pick up people, but it would be fun to pick up everyone you just canceled, dump them on the train, and then and then do that final animation. So you got a death train, that is that would add to the legend of the gang.
Die.
See, Arthur has Last of Us reflexes now. It's not exactly remembering how to do that. Peter says, I finally have a roommate. I hope that works out for you, Peter. I could tell you roommate horror stories. Not from me though. I've always enjoyed living alone. And you know, I've lived with girlfriends. But I've always preferred to live alone, personally. But yeah, I could tell you horror stories about friends of mine with roommates. Papa one says, you gotta love how the guards just accept. Yes, I know, they don't fight back. They really should. It's fighting for your life here. And it's 3 against 1. And I like them odds. Papa one says, I have a roommate horror story. It's called marriage. It's an institute you can't disparage. Scarlett says, oh, I have roommate stories too. I think everyone does. Overdoses, calling the sheriffs. Let's see, what else? She survived that overdose. Okay. Yeah, but I think that's part of that is just getting out of your 20s. Papa One says, I'm kidding. Yes, I know, but fortunately, Mama One's not listening. Ask the local gentry. Frank Sinatra. I love Frank Sinatra. Those are railroad ties. They could figure out. They've got wagons. They could sell those. Sell them for scrap. Like everything on this train. These barrels, they should have taken that. All the, all of this cargo has value that they're not interested in. Doc Skullhammer is here. Everybody say hi to Doc. Doc, I'm glad you're back, friends. Friend, how are you? Doc says, hi, everyone. Hope everyone is good. Doc, I hope you're good. And Pop One says, hey, Doc. And Miko says, hello, Doc. And Mama One says, hi, Doc. Glad you made it. Yeah, Doc. I'm really glad you're here. We're getting out of chapter 1 tonight. There's our hat. And moving on to Horseshoe Overlook. Doc Skullhammer says, hi, Papa One and everyone. We have a PS5 now, Doc. And we're playing The Last of Us on Saturdays. And then we'll play some kind of PS5 sci-fi game on Sunday. I'm thinking of Stellar Blade, of course. Maybe this new Dune game. I'll watch some playthroughs. A gold pocket watch. That horse follows us already. And Scarlet Apostate says, hi, Doc. Scarlet, Doc is one of the earliest mods. He's been with the channel since day one. He's part of the original 100. Him and Serena. I don't know if you've met Serena. She's another mod. But yeah, he is a very dear friend, a very dear friend of the channel, and we're happy he checks in every now and then to see how we're doing. Doc says, I almost made it last week, missed it barely. New Doom sounds exciting. And Papa One says, Miko, I forgot to tell you, Daphne the Dutch Warmblood found a forever home as a therapy horse for disabled kids. We healed her up. We didn't think she would be a good therapy horse, but she took to the to be continued from Papa One. That's what happens when you don't bring Hosea on the mission. He doesn't, it's like, doesn't point out that all this cargo has value that they should take. Scarlett says, Doc is an OG. Pleasure is all mine. Yeah, Doc's been with the channel from the start. Miko says, that's awesome, Papa One. I knew she had potential. Doc says, I'm house sitting for my daughter while she's in North Dakota with my new great-great-grandson. Great-grandson, born a month or so ago. Congratulations, Doc. That's a great, that must be a great feeling. I'm very happy for you. Your clan is growing. And Papa One says, congrats, Doc. I'm sure you're thrilled. Yes. Nice morning. Miss Gaskell, get your head out of that book.
So
I love that little throwaway line.
We're gonna try.
That
Weather seems stable.
And we just robbed
because
the
even in
Leviticus
chapter
Cornwall
1,
train.
Mary Beth
We got money in our
loves
pockets. The worst is behind
books
us, gentlemen.
and romance
so the
and
question
novels.
is, where now?
And as
I
you know,
this
she will
country a
become a
little.
romance
I told you,
writer.
we should set up
She has
camp
one
in
of the best
Horseshoe
stories in the
Overlook near
game.
Valentine. We'll be
she's
able
one of
to
the
hide
only,
out
you know,
there,
like
no
her and
problem,
Miss
as long
Tilly,
as we keep our noses clean.
Well, then let's
have some
go.
of the happiest
Clean
endings.
noses and everything else. Arthur, you're in
I don't know
that
if you
one.
could say
Bring
that John has a
Hosea.
happy
I know
ending.
you two like to talk about the good old days and what's
Just get a
gone
ranch and
wrong
property
with
out
old
of it.
Dutch.
And Mr. Pearson probably gets a happy ending. He gets to be he takes over the general store. Probably meets a nice Southern war widow to boss him around. I'm sure you meet a lot of people in the Rhodes General Store coming in every day for their calico and and sarsaparilla sticks and peppermints and I think you order those outfits from Sears or whatever, but I don't think he has those in stock. I think you need to order them. Miko says congratulations, Doc, and Pop1 says Miko, it was great to see her have a second chance at life. A lot of the farmhands actually were sad to see her go at first, but once we seen how happy she was, we couldn't stop her. And Miko says, yes, Mr. Pearson had a horrible roommate story. Papa One was talking about LOL. And Papa One says, Pearson is supposedly married in the epilogue. You can hear his wife, Edith, bitching at him when John is in the store. Oh, wow. You should listen to that. So I don't know if this ending is so happy. Well, it is for Mr. Pearson because he'd just get in trouble without her. He's like a cornered tiger. Doc says, I have several 100% saves. I was playing one that I have up over 100,000 in gold by raiding bad guy camps. Lots of fun. Yeah, Doc, what are you going to do with all that money?
Get us out the stream.
Yeah.
Gotta keep us moving, but calm.
See,
Okay.
my question is, why wasn't that cargo secured? Usually these wagons have a thing that, like, I don't know what you call that, the pickup truck thing, that a gate,
You need help?
or you couldn't just rope those things in.
All right, Charles, you and me hold the thing up while you try and put the wheel back on, Arthur.
And it's pretty easy to repair this wagon.
Don't
Also,
say less.
he teases Hosea, but it's still impressive that Hosea is deadlifting perhaps 500 pounds. And Charles helped, of course, but Hosea still got it. That's farm life for it. And Doc Skullhammer says, I have a dearth of places to spend it. And Papa One says, apparently Pearson was not lying in his letter to his aunt about not having a shortage of suitors. Miko says, Arthur breaks it, Charles and John fix it. Yes, that's always the way.
Come on, let's not push our luck.
What happened?
Well, get in. I'll tell you.
And Doc says the cotter pin holds a flat washer that they slather with grease to lower friction. Yeah, I would assume that axle is,
Stay on this trail.
at least iron, maybe not
Follow the
steel.
river, then cut left inland.
One says it's always sad to see a horse leave, Miko. No matter how long we have had them, it is a part of the joy of farm life.
This is the heartlands we're going to.
Doc says
Good
Pearson
farming and
sews a
grazing
great
country.
jacket,
They
though.
lost it all. Stole
Yes,
it
the
clean
rabbit
away from them.
skin
It was
coat.
every blade of grass.
Mr.
Killed
Pearson's
or
rabbit
herded
skin,
up to the reservations in
which
the
is
middle
not
of
rabbit
nowhere.
skin, rabbit skin denim
How's that
scout
different from
coat.
anywhere else?
Doc, have I told you
Well,
that I really
maybe it's
think
not.
that
I just heard some of the
the satchels are more in the
particularly,
trapper's
unpleasant
wheelhouse
about it.
than Mr. Pearson's?
How do
And
you
I
rob
really
and kill
feel
people
that
pleasantly?
we should
don't, in spite
be
of
going to
Dutch's
the
talk.
trapper for the satchels.
I fear I was perhaps trying to simplify something more complicated for the benefit of our block-headed driver here.
But that's what we're going to be doing.
Blame it on me.
It's one of my favorite things to do in Chapter 2 is
This
get that
here's a
satchel.
con man, Charles, born and bred. Just 'cause it
Miko
sounds
says, I
fancy
understand
don't mean he
after
knows
all
a
the
damn
time and
thing
effort
about
you
what he's
put into
talking
your
about.
horse.
Yeah. So, what happened to your tribe?
I don't even know if I have one.
Doc says, yeah,
But can
I would
remember.
agree.
My father was a colored man. He told me he lived with our people for a while. A number of free men did, but when we were forced to move from our lands, the three of us fled. I was too young to really remember much.
You know, there's a
Oh,
channel I
life
watch. It's
run.
called Michi Goss. She's a
couple years
Canadian.
later, some
Don't
soldiers
hold it
captured my
against her,
mother.
Papa one.
Took her somewhere.
She
We never saw
lives
her
off
again.
grid. She's got a cabin on
drifted
some
around.
island up north
He was
in
a
the
very
northwest.
sad man, and the drink had a mean hold on him.
And she
When
and
I'm
her
13,
husband,
I just took off
she
on
like
my
does
own.
woodworking
That
and,
was
and,
about the age
and
we
just
found young
Canadian
Arthur
stuff.
here.
But she and her
Maybe a
husband
little older. A wilder
have like
delinquent you
it's
never
not an
did see.
official, but they
Glad he learned
adopt
fast.
senior dogs because
Not
they've
as
got a
fast as
huge
Marston,
property.
apparently.
So they always have
Wait.
like 5 or 8
don't
senior
understand.
dogs running
What's
around,
the problem between
and
you
they
two?
just give them,
Arthur?
you know, a good final, you know, like they just take them for their final years.
Still heading
So
the
there's
right
always a
way?
little
That
bit of
depends.
sadness and poignancy in the
still
channel
heading west
because you
in
can't
search
get
of
attached to
fortune
these
and
dogs because they're on
repose
their
in
last
virgin
legs.
forests as we planned?
But
No.
it's nice
Are
that
we
someone
heading
is
in the
doing
correct
that.
direction on our
And I
desperate
wish, you know,
escape from the
like
law
something I think
eastwards down
about
the mountains?
if I ever
Yes,
get
I
a
believe so.
property
You know
somewhere,
this
I would
area?
like to have the emotional
Been through
fortitude
a
to be
couple
able
of
to do
times.
that.
There's
to,
a
um,
livestock town
to
not
give
too
some
far from
dogs
here
a-
called Valentine. Cowboys,
you know, a
outlaws,
happy ending to
working
their
girls,
lives.
Our kind of place.
We'll see.
Driscoll's,
Probably them too.
Pinkertons,
Let's hope not.
and this
I met
place
a,
we're
um,
going. Wait, but what's it called again?
Horseshoe
I met a
Overlook.
woman who does
It's a
that
good place
for.
to lie low.
It'll do for now.
It seemed like
And how low do you think Dutch is really
she
going to lie?
she had a dog. It
It's
was
just,
so
you
I
know,
was like walking
maybe it's me
back
who's
to the
changed,
store.
not
And this
him,
was a
but
huge dog.
we kept telling
was
him
like-
that ferry job
It was
didn't feel right.
it was like
You
a
and me
Belgian
had a real
Malinois
lead
mix.
in Blackwater that
Beautiful,
coulda worked
gorgeous.
Maybe.
It just isn't like
Easily
Dutch to lose
80
his
to
head
100
like that.
pounds, and
Things go
we were at a
wrong sometimes.
crosswalk, and
People die.
she smiled at
Way it
me,
is.
and the dog, you know, I
Always
could
has
tell the
been.
dog was very friendly, very well behaved, you know. But
Dutch.
she smiled at me, I'm
We've
sure,
all been in this line
to
of work a
let me
long
know that the
time,
dog was not a
and we're
threat.
still here, so
And I didn't think the dog
I
was a
figured
threat
we must
at
have
all,
got it
and so
right. Had
I
a
went
lot
up to
more
her and
than
I
we
was
got
like,
it
"You
wrong."
have a lovely dog, very well behaved," and he let me pet him, and he had like a huge head, a head bigger than mine.
Here anyway.
And
Just
but
some
you know, and it's
yarrow
like
and ginseng.
I have to reach down
for the health.
to pet Sadie.
Better
She
than that
comes
stuff
up
you
to
buy
like
in the store.
a little
Yeah,
above my knee, and this
you
one
can
was
have
at
all
my
this.
hip,
I'm at the
sitting
point where I
down.
can do it with
You know,
my
it's like
eyes
I just had to
closed.
like put my hand out,
Okay.
and, and I had a head full of dog, and he was very happy to get some head scritches. And this woman, I didn't know if she was like talking to me or she went into her spiel about like maybe she wanted me to donate to her cause. Like she works at this animal sanctuary,
There you are, brother.
and then she like run by this singer I'd never heard of, but she was like, have you heard? She was like, it was not. I'm gonna say Alanis Morissette, but it's not Alanis Morissette. But she's like, and it's run by Alanis Morissette.
Okay,
And I
let's
was like, and but she said it like I should know who this person was, but I had no idea. And she was like a 3-time Emmy Award-winning singer-songwriter. It was, oh, cool. You know, it's like I don't know music at all anymore. I like Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald and Johnny Cash and Oasis and Coldplay. Yeah, she talked about, you know, it was a horse and dog sanctuary
Here we are, gentlemen. Home sweet
and
home.
out in the country. So he was going to go to a good life, and that
You
was
weren't wrong,
nice.
Hosea. This place is perfect.
I hope so.
Gentlemen, we have survived.
For now.
Now it is time to prosper.
Doc says,
I thought
nobody
we were
likes a
about to prosper in
3-slot
We're
satchel.
on to something
And
big.
Mama one says, I finally
Then
crafted
I
all
think
the
that's all
satchels this
excited
time,
about that
Super Antonio.
ferry, and
That is
here
so
we
much
are.
fun. We're
We
going to
have
do
all
that. I
made
love doing
mistakes
that.
over the years, Hosea.
Probably one of my
Every
favorite
last
things to
one
do
of
in the
us.
game.
But I
Mama one
kept
says,
us
thanks, Doc. It
together.
was a pain mainly
Kept us
because whenever I
alive.
need an
Kept the
animal to
nooses
spawn,
off our
said
necks.
animal goes extinct.
I guess
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
part of the
worried.
challenge.
I ain't got that long, Dutch.
Papa
I
One says
want
we got a
folks safe
couple
before I
older
go.
farm dogs
And now
now,
we're stuck
but
east of the
hopefully
Grizzlies and
they
out of
still have a
money.
few years on them.
A long way
They still
from a
move and hunt
dream
pretty
of
good,
virgin
so I have
land in
high
the
hopes.
West.
I know, my brother, but we are safe. We make a bit of
Doc
money
says that
here,
can't be
and we
helpful.
move again,
Sometimes I would
head
just
out
walk
around
away
them,
for a day or two
west of Uncle
and give
Sam,
them time
in a
to
few
cool
months,
off
buy some land.
about hunting.
I hope so.
And Doc says
Would
big
you
storms
just
in
look
central Indiana.
around
I
you?
can see limbs down in the street.
This world
Okay,
has
watch out.
its consolation.
Look at that view.
Gentlemen, I'm
And
going
Mama
to
One
head
says that's
into the
part of the
local
fun,
town
Doc. I
and,
usually
you
take a
know,
break.
see if I
Question
can
why the
strike up
one
a
animal
little
that was
business.
plentiful
Of
5
course,
minutes
Herr
ago
Strauss.
decided to
I
just
prefer
go
robbing
extinct.
banks to usury.
And I do chores and
Seems
come back
more
and play the game.
dignified somehow.
And Papa One says I absolutely love Jose's
Everyone,
holsters.
put your
I
tools
wish you
down
could get
for a
them
moment. Come on,
in
gather
game.
around.
You could probably
Put
get
you
them
down.
online. Ask Serena.
I know.
And
things have
Doc
been
says,
tough,
don't you just hate
but we are
hunting the
safe
tiny animals?
now.
They are
And
the
we are
hardest
far
for me.
too poor.
Then there's
So it
those
is
darn
time
snakes
for
I hunted for a
everyone
week
to
for
get
my
to work.
saddle.
Get to work, but stay out
No
of
one is
trouble.
praying for your
Remember,
safety.
we are itinerant workers.
Laid off
Doc.
when they shut down our factory to the north. Now
Dutch
get
giving
out
another
there,
speech.
See
He-
what you can find.
He
Uncle,
points out
Reverend
Uncle.
Swanson,
No more freeloaders.
passengers.
No more
It is
passengers.
time
And
for
everybody
everyone
laughs.
to
Look at
earn
Mary Beth's
their
hair
keep.
and
There is a town,
Karen's.
little way
When did
down
they
the
have
track
time
name of
to curl their
Valentine.
hair?
Livestock town,
Those
all mud and
gals
morons, if I
not
remember
doing
right.
chores,
That seems
just
a
looking
decent
at
place
their
to start.
hand mirrors.
We need food. Real food. That means every day. One of you.
And
And remember, whatever it is that you find,
when does Miss Tilly have time to straighten her
gets
hair?
its
And did they even
slice.
straighten hair in
Now
1899?
be sensible out
I'm not being, I'm just pointing it out.
Now the girls have your tent ready, Mr. Morgan. Come with me. You two will be ready shortly. We put you over here.
I'm sure
Okay, we're all
everything
set
will be
up.
Fine, Miss Grimshaw.
It should be. Most of your stuff from Blackwater got saved.
Everything apart from my money.
Oh, don't
I don't know.
remind me.
I don't understand why you're not
We can
just
always make
sleeping
more.
in
We're gonna
the
have
wagon.
Miss Jackson, I've seen shit with more
Like an
common sense than
RV.
you. Do it properly.
You can say goodbye to the winter coat. And we made it to chapter 2. Mom wants says small game and small game arrows are the Lord's personal punishment for me, Doc. A couple of weeks later, yeah, the varmint rifle and small game arrows. For those small game arrows, you got to try to hit them in
Got
the
off the
nose.
mountain,
I'm just
rode
using
east
your
into
nose as an
some
illustration.
pretty enough country
But, you know,
called the Heartland.
You gotta get them
Been
really
this
close to
far
the
east in
nose
many a
for
year.
like the varmint rifles
Dutch
and
seems a little
and
better.
the squirrels.
His
the
eyes are
swirlies.
sparkling once more. I can see he's thinking a little clearer.
So you gotta almost
I
miss him.
think we all
And
feel
also,
a little happy,
buck antler trinket.
in spite of Blackwater and that whole mess.
Papa One says, I love when they set up camp in this game. Reminds me of the days when our old crew
Arthur?
used to live in camps.
Jose,
We lived in our property and we set up camp when we traveled. So many good
Quite a
memories.
day.
And Miko
Let's
says,
hope
those
so.
dang beavers, where are they?
There's a bunch of the boys
Lake
already in
Owanjula
Valentine.
for all your
Bill, Charles,
beaver-related
Elliot, and
needs.
Swanson
That
found
sounds a little
something
naughty, and I
down at the train
apologize.
station by the
Sorry,
lake,
Davey, I
apparently.
didn't say
And
anything naughty.
Strauss came back with
Um,
that creepy little
I love how
smile on his face.
Hosea
I'm
hands
sure there's a
Arthur
whole list
coffee.
of unfortunates he's forced money upon.
I think Hosea and Abigail enjoy their morning
I'm gonna
coffees.
read a book.
Papa says Doc says when I first had to use a bow, I thought of it as pretty iffy technology. Then I hit a snake head while it's bobbing. And Mama One says I always get the buck antler trinket when I get the legendary
My
animals.
dear boy,
what's going on?
nothing. Nothing at all. For the first time.
First outfit
in
I
weeks,
used this jacket.
Nothing.
I mean,
We're
I
free.
didn't even like
We're
the first playthrough,
free
and I
to
matched it
plan
with
our own futures once
buckskin
more.
chaps. I
I
thought that
hope
looked
so,
very
Dutch.
very
You
Kit
kept the faith,
Carson,
Arthur.
very
You always kept
very
it.
old west.
And I ain't losing it now.
Miko says they aren't there either, and then I see a 2-star at best. That means you need to go to Roanoke Ridge, regrettably. I hate hunting up there. I hate being up there. Okay, we're making a save here. A very early save. And that's about all I have for you tonight, friends. Shout out to the channel members. And also shout out to the mods, Mama One and Doc Skullhammer and Papa One and Miko Herptile. Always happy to talk to you, friends. Glad you had a good, I hope you had a good weekend. And we're going to return tomorrow night with the Last of Us playthrough. I don't know what we're doing on Sunday. We will have some kind of Sunday-related playthrough. Maybe Last of Us. And Doc says, I need every trinket I can get. Yes, I know how you feel, Doc. Scarlet Apostate, thank you for being here. And shout out to Doc Skullhammer again. I'm glad you're here. I'll leave the chat open for a bit so you guys can talk amongst yourselves. Sadie says like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow night, friends.
All right, boy. Yep. We're gonna starve to death up here, Mr. Morgan.
We're okay.
We have a few cans of food and a rabbit. For what, 10, 12 people? When I was in the Navy...
I do not wish to hear about what you got up to in the Navy, Mr. Pearson.
We were stranded at sea for 50 days.
And you unfortunately survived.
When we ran away from Blackwater, I wasn't able to get supplies in.
Well, when government agents are hunting you down, sometimes shopping trips need to be cut short. We'll survive. We always have. If needs be, we can eat you. You're the fattest.
I sent Lenny and Bill hunting, and they found nothing.
Well, Lenny's more into book learning than hunting. Bill's a fool. Unless those mountains are full of game that want to read, ain't no wonder they found
Enough of this. We'll go find something. Come on, Arthur.
Wait a second. Hold on. Here. You're gonna need something to eat out there.
Assorted, salted offal. Starving will be preferable.
Come on, let's go.
You can't go hunting. Look at your hand.
I can't stay here listening to you two. Look, if there's game in those hills, I'll find it. And you can kill it.
You need to rest, Charles.
You think this is rest? Come along. Here, you take this. I can't use it, and you'll have to.
Oh, you're joking.
Use a gun, and we'll scare off every animal for miles around. You're never too old to learn, I imagine. All right, let's head out.
How are you holding up, Charles?
I'm okay, apart from this hand. Stupid mistake.
Still bad?
It'll be fine in a day or two. I just can't pull a bow right now.
Sure hope I can. Never really got the hang of it.
You'll be fine.
So, you reckon we're gonna find something to kill that ain't no Driscoll?
Huh. There's meat up here for sure. Pearson doesn't know what he's talking about. Now the weather's eased off a bit, they'll be needing to feed. We'll head up this way. Find some higher ground.
Been a wild few days, all right. That ride north from Blackwater, getting stuck in the storm, going out for John, that thing with the O'Driscolls.
You've had a lot put on you. I wish I could have done more.
I didn't mean it like that. Just a lot to think back on.
I still don't really know what happened on that boat.
Me neither. Well, Javier told me a bit, but it sure weren't good.
There's some patches of grass here. This is good. Let's look down this way. The wind's died down too.
That's good.
No wind at all is bad, but if it's too strong, they won't move. Now shh. Stay quiet. Hey, stop here a second. I see something. There's deer been here. Recently.
How can you tell?
How can you not? Let's walk it from here. You're gonna need the bow. Don't leave it on your horse. A gun will scare everything around. Use the bow I gave you. Don't make too much noise. Quiet as you can. Stay low and move slowly. You see the tracks?
I think so. Maybe not.
Focus. It's easier in the snow, but once you get your eye in, you'll be able to track nearly as well in grass and woods. Wait, look. There they are. Quick, get that boy. Good shot. Now let's try for another. Well done. I think that's all we can carry. Okay, you pick up one, I'll get the other.
You sure your hand's okay?